Most people don't wake up one morning suddenly sick. It doesn't happen like that. Instead, it begins quietly. A little bloating after meals that you brush off as normal. A feeling of heaviness in your stomach that seems to come and go. You notice your waistline slowly expanding, even though you're not eating much more than before. Your energy feels lower, but you tell yourself it's just age, just stress, just life. Some of my patients tell me they sleep 7, even 8 hours a night, yet they wake up exhausted, as if their body never truly rested. Others come in with early joint pain, chronic inflammation, or a weakened immune system long before they ever expected to deal with those issues. And then there's something even more concerning. Today, more than half of adults show signs of fatty liver at different levels. Blood sugar creeps up slowly over the years. Blood pressure rises quietly, without any clear warning. These problems don't arrive overnight. They build, layer by layer, silently. So the real question is this: is your body actually getting weaker, or has it simply never been given the chance to repair itself in the first place? Most of the chronic problems you're dealing with right now are not random. The bloating, the slow digestion, the stubborn belly fat that doesn't go away no matter what you try, the rising blood sugar, the creeping blood pressure, the constant fatigue even after a full night of sleep. These are not isolated issues. They are signals. Signals that your body is no longer repairing itself the way it was designed to. And here's what concerns me the most. Today, more than half of adults already show signs of fatty liver. Chronic inflammation is becoming the baseline, not the exception. People are getting joint pain, metabolic problems, and immune dysfunction earlier than ever before. But none of this happens overnight. It builds slowly, silently, in the background of your daily routine. And the biggest mistake most people make is this: they believe their body is failing, so they look for something external to fix it. A pill, a supplement, a treatment. But what if the real problem is not that your body is broken? What if the real problem is that your body has never been given the conditions it needs to repair itself? The problem is not just what you are experiencing. The problem is what is happening underneath, without you realizing it, because the way most people live today is completely out of sync with how the human body is designed to function. You wake up and within minutes you start eating, then a snack, then coffee with sugar or milk, then lunch, then something sweet in the afternoon, then dinner, and often something late at night. From the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, your body is constantly processing food, constantly digesting, constantly managing blood sugar. And while that is happening, something very important is being pushed aside. Repair. Your body cannot deeply repair itself while it is constantly busy dealing with incoming energy. It doesn't have the resources. It doesn't have the signal. And here is where most people misunderstand their health. They think their symptoms mean their body is weak. They think something is broken. But in reality, what I see again and again in my patients is not a broken system. It is an interrupted system. A system that is never given the time or the conditions to do what it was designed to do. And when repair is delayed day after day, week after week, year after year, damaged proteins begin to accumulate. Old dysfunctional cells are not cleared out. Inflammation quietly becomes chronic. And this is the foundation of most modern diseases. Not because your body failed you, but because your body was never allowed to finish the work it starts every single day. There is something I want you to understand very clearly. Your body already has a built-in system designed specifically for this kind of repair. This is not a theory. It is not a trend. And it is not something new. In medical science, this process is called autophagy. Put simply, it means self-eating. But what that really means is far more important. Your cells have the ability to identify damaged components, broken proteins, dysfunctional structures, and even cells that are no longer working properly. And instead of letting that waste accumulate, the body breaks it down and recycles it into raw material to build something new. It is one of the most intelligent and efficient survival mechanisms in human biology. Through this process, inflammation can be reduced. Cellular function improves. Tissues have a chance to renew themselves, and over time, this contributes to better metabolic health, stronger immunity, and slower aging at the cellular level. This is not speculation. This mechanism has been studied extensively and is considered a fundamental part of how the body maintains balance and longevity. But here is the critical part that most people are never told. Autophagy does not run at full capacity all the time. It is conditional. It only activates when the body receives the right signals, when certain biological conditions are met. And in the way most people live today, those conditions almost never happen. So the question now becomes very simple. If your body already has this repair system, what exactly does it need in order to turn it back on? Because the goal here is not to force your body to heal. The goal is to remove what's blocking it and restore the conditions it was designed to work in. And when you look at this from a biological perspective, it comes down to a few key signals that your body is constantly responding to. First, timing. Not just what you eat, but when you eat, and whether your body is ever given a true break from constant digestion. Second, movement, because your muscles don't just burn calories, they send powerful signals that influence how your cells manage energy and repair themselves. Third, recovery, especially sleep, where some of the deepest cleaning and restoration processes actually take place. And finally, what you put into your body, because certain foods support these processes, while others quietly shut them down. Once you understand how these signals work together, you stop trying to fix your body from the outside, and you start allowing it to repair itself from within. One of the most important things I need you to understand is this. Your body is not failing to repair itself. It is being prevented from doing so. Because biologically your body is not designed to do everything at the same time. At any given moment, it prioritizes. It either focuses on processing incoming energy, or it shifts into maintenance and repair. It cannot fully do both. And in modern life, most people unknowingly keep their body locked in one mode all day long. The feeding mode. From the moment you wake up, food starts coming in. Breakfast, then a snack, then coffee with sugar or milk, then lunch, then something in the afternoon, then dinner, and often something again late at night. Each time you eat, your body activates digestion. It releases insulin. It directs energy toward absorbing nutrients and managing blood sugar. That process is not passive. It is demanding. It requires resources, attention, and energy at the cellular level. So while this is happening, your body makes a decision. Repair can wait, cleaning can wait, rebuilding can wait, and if this pattern happens once in a while, it's not a problem. But when it happens every single day, without interruption, there is never a true window for deep repair to begin. This is where the shift happens. Not suddenly, but gradually. Damaged proteins that should have been broken down start to accumulate. Old, inefficient cells remain in circulation longer than they should. Inflammatory signals that were meant to be temporary become constant background noise. And over time, your body adapts to this state, a state where it is always processing, but never fully restoring. This is why so many people feel like they are slowly declining, even when they are trying to eat healthy. Because the issue is not just what they are eating, it is that their body is never given the chance to stop and repair what is already broken. To really understand why your body stops repairing itself, you need to understand one key signal: insulin. Most people think of insulin as just a hormone that controls blood sugar, but in reality, it is much more than that. Insulin is a message. It tells your body what state it should be in. When insulin is elevated, your body receives a very clear instruction: store energy, process nutrients, build and preserve. This is what we call the fed state. And in this state, repair is not the priority. Because from a survival perspective, your body assumes that food is available, that energy is coming in. So it focuses on managing that energy efficiently. But here's the part most people don't realize. As long as insulin stays elevated, even slightly, your body does not switch into deep repair mode. It doesn't activate the pathways that clean up damaged cells. It doesn't fully engage autophagy. It stays in a holding pattern. Now think about how often insulin is being triggered throughout your day. Every time you eat, insulin rises. Even small things: a piece of fruit, a handful of snacks, a coffee with sugar or milk, a sweet drink. Each of these creates a spike. And before insulin has a chance to return to baseline, another input comes in, another signal, another interruption. So instead of having clear cycles of feeding and repair, your body is stuck in a constant state of just finished eating, and in that state, repair is always postponed. This is why eating frequency matters just as much as food quality, because even if you are eating healthy foods, if you are eating too often, you are still sending the same signal: do not repair yet. And over time, that repeated signal becomes the default, a body that is always processing, but never fully restoring. So how do you actually give your body the signal it has been missing? You create space, real, uninterrupted space where no energy is coming in, where insulin has time to drop, and where your body is finally allowed to shift its priority from processing to repairing. One of the simplest and most effective ways to do this is through a structured fasting window. Specifically, a daily fasting period of around 16 to 18 hours. In practical terms, this often means finishing your last meal early in the evening, ideally before 6:30 p.m., and then no consuming any calories again until late morning or midday the next day. During that window, something important begins to change. At first, your body continues using the remaining glucose in your bloodstream. Then it starts tapping into stored glycogen, and as that supply gradually runs down, insulin levels begin to fall. This is the turning point, because as insulin drops, the internal signals within your cells start to shift. The body recognizes that there is no incoming energy, and instead of waiting, it adapts. It redirects its resources. It begins to activate processes that were previously suppressed. Autophagy is one of those processes. Now, instead of constantly storing and managing nutrients, your body starts to clean. It breaks down damaged proteins that are no longer functional. It targets older, inefficient cellular components. It recycles what it can and removes what it cannot. This is not a surface-level reset. This is deep cellular maintenance. And over time, people often begin to notice the effects. Inflammation becomes less noticeable. Energy levels feel more stable throughout the day. The sharp highs and crashes that come with constant eating begin to level out. But I want to be very clear about something. This is not about starving yourself. It is about timing. Because the human body was never designed to be in a constant fed state from morning until late at night. It was designed to cycle, to have periods of intake and periods of repair. And when you restore that rhythm, even in a simple, consistent way, you are not forcing your body to heal. You are finally allowing it to do what it has always known how to do. Layer to this that most people completely overlook, and that is timing, not just in terms of fasting, but in relation to your biological clock. Your body is not operating the same way at every hour of the day. It follows a rhythm, a circadian rhythm that is closely tied to light, especially sunlight. During the early part of the day, when natural light is present, your body is more efficient at digestion. Your metabolism is more active. Your insulin sensitivity is higher. This means your body can process and utilize nutrients more effectively. But as the day progresses, and especially after the sun goes down, that efficiency begins to decline. Your body starts preparing for rest, not digestion. And this is where a critical mistake happens. Many people delay their largest meal until late evening. Some even eat right before bed. From a biological perspective, this creates a mismatch, because now you are asking your body to perform a high-energy task at a time when it is naturally shifting toward recovery. As a result, digestion becomes slower. Food stays longer in the system, more energy is required to process it, and the transition into repair is delayed even further. This is why two identical meals can have completely different effects on your body, depending on when you eat them. The same food, eaten earlier in the day, is more likely to be processed efficiently. The same food, eaten late at night, is more likely to contribute to fat storage, inflammation, and disrupted repair. So when you combine proper fasting with proper timing, eating earlier, finishing your meals before your body shifts into its nighttime phase, you are not just reducing calories, you are aligning with your biology. And that alignment is what allows your body to move smoothly from feeding into repair, the way it was always meant to. As your fasting window extends, your body begins to go through another important transition. At first, it uses what is readily available, glucose in the bloodstream, then glycogen stored in the liver and muscles. But these stores are limited, and once they begin to run low, your body has to make a decision. it has to switch fuel sources. Instead of relying on sugar, it turns to fat. This is where fat burning truly begins. Not just as a concept for weight loss, but as a fundamental metabolic shift. Your body starts breaking down stored fat into fatty acids, and from there, it produces molecules called ketones. Ketones are a different kind of fuel. They are more stable. They don't create the same rapid spikes and crashes that glucose does. And perhaps most importantly, they are an extremely efficient energy source for the brain. This is why many people report something interesting once they adapt to this state. Their hunger becomes less intense, their energy feels more steady, not up and down throughout the day. Their mind feels clearer, more focused, less foggy. It's not because they suddenly have more energy, it's because their energy has become more stable. Now, I want to address something honestly. I feel slightly tired or even irritable. But in many cases, this is not because your body lacks energy, it's because your body is adjusting to using a different type of fuel. And sometimes, it's also related to electrolyte balance. When insulin drops, your body releases more water and minerals. So staying hydrated and maintaining proper electrolyte intake becomes important during this phase. But once your body adapts, this shift becomes natural. And when it does, you are no longer dependent on constant food intake for energy. Your body becomes flexible, it can burn and it can repair at the same time, even if you get your fasting right. Even if your timing is aligned, your body still needs another signal to go deeper into repair, and that signal is movement. But not in the way most people think, because movement is not just about burning calories, it is a biological message. When your muscles contract, when you walk, lift, or move with intention, your body begins to use stored energy. It starts drawing from glycogen, and as that stored fuel begins to drop, your cells receive a very clear signal. Energy is limited, something needs to change. Inside your body, there are sensors that detect this shift, and when they do, they activate pathways that are directly connected to repair and renewal. This is where movement and autophagy begin to overlap, because now your body is not only using energy, it is becoming more efficient. Damaged proteins within muscle cells are broken down, old cellular components are cleared out, and in their place, new, stronger structures are built. This is why, when done correctly, movement does not weaken the body. It strengthens it at a deeper level. And here is something important to understand. You do not need extreme workouts to trigger this effect. In fact, for many people, especially those who are already under stress, too much intensity can actually work against recovery. What matters is consistency and the right level of challenge. Regular walking, light to moderate strength training, short periods of higher effort followed by recovery. These are enough to send the signal, enough to tell your body that it needs to adapt and improve. And beyond the physical effects, movement also reduces systemic inflammation. It improves how your body handles glucose. It enhances circulation, allowing nutrients and oxygen to reach tissues more effectively. So, when you combine movement with fasting, you are not just creating a deficit, you are creating a powerful biological environment where your body is encouraged to clean, rebuild, and become more resilient over time. There is another signal that plays a very powerful role in how your body repairs itself, and that is stress. Now, I want to be very clear. Not all stress is harmful. In fact, the complete absence of stress can make the body weaker over time. What your body actually needs is the right type of stress. Short-term, controlled, manageable stress. In physiology, this is known as hormesis. It refers to a process where small, temporary challenges force your cells to adapt, and in doing so, become stronger. For example, when you expose your body to heat, such as a sauna, your cells respond by activating protective proteins. These proteins help repair damaged structures and improve resilience at the cellular level. On the other hand, brief exposure to cold, like cold water or lower temperatures, creates a different kind of signal. It stimulates your nervous system, it increases alertness, and it forces your body to adjust quickly and efficiently. These are not harmful when applied correctly. They are training signals. They tell your body that it needs to stay adaptable, responsive, and strong. And this becomes especially important in modern life, because many people today live in a state of constant comfort, minimal physical challenge, minimal variation, long periods of sitting, with very little change in environment, can lead to a kind of biological stagnation. The body becomes less responsive, less resilient, less capable of handling even small disruptions. But when you introduce controlled stress, in the right dose, you begin to reverse that pattern. Your cells become more efficient, your nervous system becomes more flexible, and your ability to recover improves. So again, this is not about avoiding stress entirely. It is about using it intelligently. Because when combined with proper fasting, movement, and recovery, these small challenges become powerful tools that help your body repair and adapt. At a much deeper level, if fasting creates the space, and movement sends the signal, and stress trains the system, then sleep is where the repair is actually completed. And this is the part that many people underestimate, because you can eat well, you can move regularly, you can even follow a structured fasting routine. But if your sleep is disrupted, shallow, or inconsistent, the entire repair process becomes incomplete. During deep sleep, your body shifts into one of its most active recovery states. Your brain, in particular, activates a specialized cleaning system. This system works by flushing out waste products, broken proteins, and toxic byproducts that have accumulated throughout the day. It is a physical, measurable process, and it only functions properly when sleep is deep and uninterrupted. If that process is cut short, or repeatedly interrupted, those waste products remain, they accumulate, and over time they begin to affect how your brain functions, how you feel, and how your body recovers. This is why so many people wake up feeling tired, even after what should have been a full night of sleep, because the hours were there, but the quality was not. And the effects go far beyond fatigue. Chronic sleep disruption has been linked to increased inflammation, impaired memory, mood instability, and accelerated aging at the cellular level. It also interferes with how your body regulates hormones, including those involved in metabolism and repair. So even if everything else is in place, poor sleep can quietly undo the progress you are trying to make. This is why I often tell my patients something very simple. Recovery does not happen when you are awake, it happens when you are asleep. And when you begin to treat sleep not as an afterthought, but as a critical part of your health, you start to notice a shift. Your energy stabilizes, your body feels lighter, and the repair processes you've been trying to activate finally have the time and the conditions to fully complete their work. Alongside timing, movement, and sleep, there is another layer that quietly influences whether your body repairs efficiently or not, and that is what you choose to put into it every day. Because not all foods act the same way at the cellular level. Some simply provide calories, others carry compounds that directly interact with your cells, influencing inflammation, oxidative stress, and even the pathways involved in repair. Let me give you a few practical examples. Many people start their day with coffee or tea, and when used correctly, both can actually support the processes we've been talking about. Coffee, when it is pure, without added sugar, excessive milk, or artificial sweeteners, contains powerful antioxidants. These compounds help reduce oxidative stress, which is one of the main drivers of cellular damage, but the benefit depends on how it is consumed. Add too much sugar, and you shift the signal back towards storage, away from repair. Green tea works in a similar way, but through slightly different compounds. It contains catechins, which have been shown to support cellular protection, particularly in the brain, and to assist in reducing low-grade inflammation. Then there are the ingredients that most people overlook completely, simple things found in a typical kitchen. Turmeric, for example, contains curcumin, a compound known for its role in modulating inflammation and supporting cellular cleanup. Ginger supports digestion, but more importantly, it helps maintain the integrity of the gut lining, which is one of the first systems affected by modern dietary patterns. Even less commonly discussed ingredients, like galangal, carry similar bioactive compounds that contribute to repair and resilience at the cellular level. And when you look at whole foods, vegetables with deep natural colors, especially cruciferous vegetables, support the liver in processing and clearing toxins. Berries provide compounds that help protect brain function and reduce oxidative damage. Healthy fats from natural sources support the structure of your cells and the function of your nervous system. So again, this is not about eating perfectly. It is about understanding that small, consistent choices like switches, they either support your body's ability to repair or they quietly interfere with it. Beyond specific foods, there is a deeper foundation that determines whether your body can actually carry out repair effectively, and that foundation is nutrients and your gut microbiome, because even if you create the right conditions, fasting, movement, sleep, your body still needs the raw materials to rebuild. It needs the basic components that support cellular function. Healthy fats, for example, are not optional. They are essential for the structure of your cell membranes, for your brain, and for your nervous system. Without them, communication between cells becomes less efficient, and repair processes lose their stability. Then there are micronutrients, vitamins and minerals that act as cofactors in hundreds of biochemical reactions. These are the silent drivers behind repair. They don't draw attention, but without them, many of the processes we've discussed simply cannot run properly. This is why someone can fast, exercise, and sleep and still not feel the full benefit, because the foundation is incomplete. And then there is the gut. Your gut is not just a digestive organ. It is an ecosystem. Trillions of bacteria interacting with your immune system, your metabolism, and even your brain. A balanced microbiome supports inflammation control, nutrient absorption, and immune signaling. But when that balance is disrupted, repair becomes less efficient, inflammation becomes easier to trigger, and harder to resolve. This is where traditional fermented foods can play an important role. Foods that naturally contain beneficial bacteria help restore balance in the gut, supporting the entire system from within. So when your gut is healthy and your body has the nutrients it needs, everything we've discussed begins to work together more effectively, not as separate actions, but as one coordinated system of repair. Now here is the part that I want you to pay very close attention to, because even if you are doing everything we've talked about, there are a few simple habits that can quietly cancel all of it. And the problem is, most people don't even recognize them as harmful. They are normal, socially accepted, even encouraged. The first is alcohol. When alcohol enters your body, your liver immediately shifts its priority. It stops everything else and focuses on detoxifying that alcohol, not repairing, not processing stored waste, not supporting recovery. Everything is put on hold, and even a single evening of drinking can delay repair processes for hours afterward. If this becomes frequent, your body rarely gets a full window to enter deep restoration. The second is constant snacking. Every time you eat, even something small, you trigger insulin. And as we discussed earlier, insulin is the signal that tells your body to pause repair. So when you eat repeatedly throughout the day, you are not just adding calories, you are repeatedly interrupting your body's ability to clean and restore. This is why many people say, "I don't eat that much," and yet they still feel inflamed, tired, and metabolically stuck. Because it's not just the quantity, it's the frequency. And then there is sleep, or more specifically, the lack of it. Late nights, screens before bed, interrupted sleep. Each of these shortens the window where deep repair actually happens. So even if you fast, even if you eat well, even if you move, your body never completes the cycle. And when you put all of this together, you start to see the bigger picture. It's not that your body doesn't know how to heal. It's that your daily habits are constantly interrupting the process, again and again, without you realizing it. So when you step back and look at everything we've covered, this is not complicated. It only seems complicated when it is scattered. But when you bring it together, it becomes a simple system. First, you create space, a daily fasting window, long enough to allow your body to stop processing and start repairing. Second, you bring structure to your eating, not constant snacking, not late-night meals, but clear, defined times that align with your biology. Third, you move, not to exhaust yourself, but to send the signal that your body needs to adapt, to become more efficient, to rebuild. Fourth, You introduce small, controlled challenges, heat, cold, variation, just enough to keep your system responsive and resilient. Fifth, you protect your sleep, because this is where everything you started during the day is actually completed. And finally, you remove what interferes: less alcohol, less constant eating, less disruption at night. When these pieces come together, you are not adding something artificial, you are restoring a pattern, a rhythm that your body already understands. And once that rhythm is back, the need to fix your body becomes much smaller, because your body begins to do what it was always designed to do: repair, clean, and renew itself from within. Now, I want you to understand something important. You don't need to do all of this perfectly, and you don't need to do it all at once, because your body does not respond to perfection. It responds to consistency. Some of you may be able to implement a full 16-hour fasting window right away. Others may need to start with 12 hours, then gradually extend it. Some of you may already be active. Others may need to begin with something as simple as a daily walk. That is not a limitation. That is exactly how this process is supposed to work, because your body adapts step by step. And the goal here is not to force change, it is to create a direction. Even small adjustments, when repeated daily, begin to shift your internal environment. Your body starts to recognize longer periods without food. It begins to respond differently to movement. Sleep gradually becomes deeper, more restorative. And over time, these small signals accumulate. They begin to reinforce each other. So instead of thinking, I need to change everything, think in terms of alignment. What is one thing you can adjust today that brings your body closer to the conditions it needs? Because once you start moving in that direction, your body will meet you there, and it will begin doing what it has always been capable of doing. I also want to be very honest with you about something. This is not a quick fix. This is not something that will reverse years of damage in a few days, or even a few weeks, because the conditions that led to your current state did not happen overnight. They built slowly, and in the same way, recovery takes time. Your body needs repeated signals. It needs consistency. It needs the opportunity to go through these cycles again and again before you begin to notice deeper changes. So if you try this for a few days and expect a dramatic transformation, you will likely feel disappointed. But that does not mean it is not working. In many cases, the first changes are subtle. Your energy feels slightly more stable. You don't feel as heavy after meals. Your sleep begins to improve, little by little. And over time, those small shifts begin to compound. This is not about chasing immediate results. It is about rebuilding a foundation. Because when the foundation is strong, everything else becomes easier. Your metabolism becomes more flexible. Inflammation becomes easier to control. Your body becomes more responsive, more resilient. So instead of asking, is this working yet? Ask a different question. Am I consistently giving my body the conditions it needs to repair? Because if the answer is yes, then the process has already begun. There is something I want you to remember after everything we've discussed. Your body is not your enemy. It has never been working against you. In fact, it has been trying to protect you and repair you every single day, quietly, without asking for anything in return. Even now, even in a state of fatigue, inflammation, or imbalance, your body is still trying, still adapting, still doing the best it can with the conditions it has been given. And that is the part that changes everything. Because it means you are not starting from zero. You are not broken. You are simply out of alignment. For years, your body has been interrupted by constant input, constant stimulation, constant demands, without enough space to recover. And yet, it kept going, it kept functioning, it kept compensating, until the signals became too loud to ignore. The fatigue, the weight that won't move, the inflammation that doesn't fully go away. These are not signs of failure. They are signals. Signals asking for something very simple: space, time, and the right conditions. And the moment you begin to give your body that, something shifts, not instantly, but steadily, quietly, in the background, where real healing actually happens. So this is not about forcing your body to change. It is about finally allowing it to do what it has always known how to do: repair, restore, renew. And when you understand that, you stop fighting your body and you start working with it. If this gave you a new way of understanding your body, then the next question becomes even more important, because in today's world, it's not just about what you eat or how you live, it's also about what your body is being exposed to every single day without you realizing it. Microplastics, chemicals from packaging, substances in food and water that slowly accumulate inside the body. Where do they go? How does your body deal with them? And what happens when that burden becomes too much, even for a system designed to repair itself? I'll walk you through that in the next video. And if you know someone who feels constantly tired, inflamed, or stuck, despite trying everything, share this with them, because sometimes the most important change is simply understanding what your body has been trying to tell you all along.